EFCC says about 60% of its prosecutions are about cybercrime, while it has uncovered funds linked to terror funders. And tonight, we shall be speaking with the Minister of Aviation, Mr. Festus Keyamo. What is the Tinubu government's plans in the aviation sector? This is his first television interview since assuming office. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Abuja. Let's begin by letting you know what happened today in town in the nation's capital, where it appears a lot of activities are going on in the EFCC. The chairman of the commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, today says the anti-graft agency has uncovered how a religious sect in Nigeria is laundering money for terrorists. This was as he also revealed that another religious body was found to be protecting a money launderer after someone suspected to have been laundered was traced to the organization's bank account. He was speaking during a public engagement on youth, religion, and the fight against corruption, of which the chairman of Channels Television Media Group, Dr. John Momo, was the keynote speaker. And there was a launch of the Fraud Risk Assessment Project for ministries, departments, and agencies. Let me allow you to listen to the EFCC chairman.
Our experience in fighting corruption that involve religious leaders and even traditional rulers is nothing to write home about. As I'm standing before you, there's a matter we are handling. A pyramid scheme that involving over 30 billion naira fleeced from Nigerians. Along the lines, some people died, some victims collapsed and all of that. We were able to trace about over 7 billion to a particular religious body. And so what did I do? I said, look, write a letter to the leader of that religious sect. We did. And the next thing we saw was a restraining order. The money traced to that religious organization to their leaders. We got a restraining order stopping us from inviting them, stopping us from recovering the money. Meanwhile, people have died along the line. Money traced directly to your body. And that's what we are battling. Of course, we have appealed. And now this is the situation that is facing us. Religious leaders,
Right, you heard the EFCC chairman, and this is just a portion of what he said today. But there are other speakers. Let me allow you to listen to the keynote speaker, the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo.
Together, we can shape a digital future that we can all be proud of. A future that is safe, a future that is respectful, and a future full of opportunities for all. The battle against corruption is one that we can win. It requires the energy and innovation of the youth, guided by the moral and ethical teachings of religion. Together, let's pave the way for a future where integrity is the cornerstone of our society, our country, Nigeria.
Right, he was not the only one who spoke. There are several speakers, and religious, traditional rulers were also in the picture. And they were speaking about how corruption has eaten deep into the fiber of our nation. Take a listen to some of them.
There is a problem in Nigeria. Maybe the day those youths that we are actually lavishing wealth and trying to oppress them, because yes, they do cybercrime. We have a lot of university vice chancellors here. In fact, those students are richer than lecturers now. Those students, they drive better cars than lecturers. And those lecturers that are earning so much stipends, they will be looking at them that, how are they doing it? One way or the other, they will fall into corruption. So corruption is everywhere.
While we accept to give leadership in the battle, let us not forget to teach by example. Let us demonstrate very clearly always by our way of life that honesty is possible and rewarding.
All right. That's about the summary of what we can give you in an event that took long. In fact, the chair of the panel session was the former Minister of Works, Babatunde Fashola. Well, tonight our attention will be on the aviation sector, and my guest tonight is the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is here with me in the studio, and we're not cutting any part of that conversation out. It's going to be straight and sometimes piercing to the very skin. Tonight, just stick around with me because it's dealing with a lot of issues tonight on the program. So if you have your questions, you can send them to me. We're dealing with a lot of issues, the incidents that we have seen recently, the plan of the Tinubu government, the issues. If you have any problem with the aviation sector, especially those airlines, the cancellation of flight and all what is the government doing about that? Customers, they say, must come first. What is also the responsibility of the government to the aviation sector? How are they able to meet up with that? That's we deal with all of the issues now. But first and foremost, let me serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Governor Ahmadu Fintiri of Adamawa State. The 5-member panel of the Apex Court, headed by Justice John Okoro, unanimously dismissed the appeal by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the last governorship election in the state, Mrs. Aishatu Dahiru, for grossly lacking in merit. The court held that the initial declaration of Mrs. Dahiru as the winner of the election by the state's resident electoral commissioner was unlawful and a nullity. Meanwhile, the Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Professor Kaletapua Ferota, has welcomed the judgment of the Supreme Court. Addressing journalists in Yola, the Deputy Governor appealed to citizens of the state to join hands with Governor Fintiri's administration to develop the state. An aspirant for the governorship ticket of the Labour Party in the Edo 2024 election and former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Olumide Apata, says previous administrations in the state have not carried out people-centered policies that will benefit the people. Mr. Apata, who purchased his expression of interest in nomination forms at the national secretaries of the party in Abuja, assured the people of Edo State that governance will be back to the grassroots, as he will ensure the full autonomy of local government, which is the closest tier to the people.
People will remain there at the center. Once that is your driving force, once that is what propels you, you will come up with policies and programs that will benefit the people.
Ahead of the local government election scheduled for April in Oyo State, the Governor, Seyi Makinde, has directed her special assistants in federal constituencies to mobilize support for the People's Democratic Party candidates in the various local government areas. The Governor stated this while inaugurating the special advisor and special assistants on federal constituencies at the Governor's office in Ibadan.
We have local government elections coming in April. I want our candidates delivered in all the federal constituencies.
The former senator representing Adamawa North Senatorial District, Senator Elisha Abo, has asked President Tinubu to keep his eyes on the judiciary and ensure that corrupt judges are not rewarded with elevated positions. The former lawmaker, who was speaking against a backdrop of the recent list of justices awaiting to be sworn in as justices of the Supreme Court, alleges that there are some among them with questionable judicial records that should be investigated. Mr. Abo urges President Tinubu and the National Judiciary Council to make deliberate efforts to sanitize the judiciary.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So tonight, our attention will be on the aviation sector. It is a sector needing crucible of scrutiny in an era where the skies are fraught with challenges from infrastructure bottlenecks to regulatory turbulence. We go beyond the gloss to confront the unvanished truth. This interview will be no stroll in the cloud. It's a relentless pursuit of answers as we dissect the pressing issues plaguing the aviation sector. Brace up yourself, everyone, for an unapologetically hardcore conversation with the man tasked with navigating Nigeria's skies, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. It's his first television exclusive interview since assuming office. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's get to it, because the last time you were on this program, we were talking politics. It was during the campaign. Medicinal campaigns, we're talking about policies and issues that affect the average Nigerian. First and foremost, I want us to deal with this matter before we get into other part. The relocation plan of the Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria, a part of the department, into Lagos. It's caused a lot of controversies, led to ethnic and political controversy. Did you envisage it? What was the plan? They say it was a skewed arrangement. What exactly is the true state of things?
Thank you. I think this is just a storm in a teacup. And I just hope we don't spend too much time on this, really, because there's so much happening in the aviation sector beyond the movement of FAAN to Lagos, the headquarters. But let me just give you a bit of a background to this so that Nigerians will understand it clearly. It was in 2020 that my predecessor in office gave a directive that the headquarters should move from Lagos to Abuja. All the while, the headquarters had been in Lagos of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. But when that directive was given, now I cannot, I don't know the reason why adequate provision was not made for all the principal officers that were supposed to move to Abuja. So there were no offices to accommodate the principal officers. And the principal officers, by the principal officers, I mean the directors of the agency and the departments under those directorates. All of these come up to about 132 persons. We have, well, under him, we had 10 directorates. I just created one more, which is cargo. In addition to that, and I think also special duties to take care of very important issues for us. And then you now have general managers under the directorates. You have deputy general managers. You have, some other assistant general managers and some principal officers under those directorates. The headquarters we are talking about, people should not assume that headquarters means the place where the largest operation takes place. Does not mean where the biggest building is. Headquarters, is where the decision makers sit. That is what headquarters mean in any setup at all. It's not where the largest, number of workers are, or the biggest building, like I said before. So it's just where should they sit down on a daily basis to take decisions. Now, back to this. So in 2020, they came to Abuja. They had nowhere to stay. All of these officers, the principal officers, no offices for them.
And up till now,
none.
The situation persists.
I have seven agencies I supervise. NIMET has a beautiful permanent office here. NCA, they have a beautiful permanent office here in Abuja. So all of this we're talking about is not that the whole of aviation is one of those 7 that's moving back to Lagos, the decision makers. Now, when they came here, they had nowhere to stay, no office. So they milled around for some time, and they all went back to Lagos anyway. So what we are talking about, this movement we're talking about, is that most of them are actually in Lagos.
Out of the 132 you're talking about, how many of them are there?
More than 100 of them. They're already in Lagos anyway. They are not even in Abuja. Physically, they are not in Abuja. But why did we take this decision? The new management approached me. It's not like I woke up one morning and decided this is the decision that I must take. They came to me with facts and said, look, Minister Oga, this is our problem. I said, what's your problem? They said, one, that some of the directors are here, but the support staff, the departments under those directors have no place to stay. They are in Lagos. So what happens? What is the implication of that, Shehu? Listen very carefully. On a daily basis, because this is FAAN that is customer, like customer service every day, they need to meet, they need to take decisions and all of that. These departments in Lagos, for the ones that are here, the directors that are here, you see them flying every day with files to and from Abuja to get one simple signature, to get one document approved for one small meeting or the other. And it is compounded by the fact that FAAN is not yet digitalized. That is what I met on the ground. It's not digitalized where they can exchange digital documents. They cannot. So they fly every day back and forth to Abuja, to Lagos and Abuja. In 1 year, they showed me the book, Seun. They spent close to ₦500 million on air tickets. Let that shock Nigerians first. Between Lagos, Abuja, Abuja, Lagos. 450-something million naira on tickets alone. I shouted, I said, what is this? The MD, who had, of course, has an office here, but she will need 1, 2, 3, 4 persons. They will fly to Abuja on a daily basis, back and forth, back and forth. So I said, so what do you want? They said, sir, can we just all go back to Lagos? Because
so it was the top officials of FAAN that asked for the permanent relocation.
That came from approval.
A decision
no, it wasn't.
Of the minister.
Of course, I take the. I mean, the box stops on my table. I approved it, but they made a request to me, including the unions.
But
the unions, all the unions,
not in
the unions.
Is the President Tinubu privy to this?
I take the decision. As minister.
Is the president supposed to be aware of it?
No, those are administrative decisions that's within the purview of a minister.
Because it's causing him political trauma.
Who says so? It's some people holding
politicians who are
it's some people holding press conferences that have you seen people even from some sections of the country supporting this move? I mean, all the aviation unions, who can be better stakeholders than that, Shehu? All the aviation unions, all of them. In fact, in 2020, they protested. They kicked against it because they were trying to protect their members. But they didn't listen to them. Added to that, not only tickets, we are now liable to be paying DTAs. So people who are already normally within where they stay, we're liable to pay because when you designate Abuja as the headquarters, almost those 100 staff that are there in Lagos, technically they are working out of station, technically. But that's where their houses are. That's where they were anyway. And then we have accommodation, the old accommodation in Lagos. When we're struggling with this problem in Abuja, we have the old accommodation there. So I said, okay, go back to the old accommodation until we get a befitting building in Abuja. I didn't get a befitting building in Lagos because we still need a befitting building in Lagos. They don't have a befitting, but they have space. They have the old building that they use, that Nigerian Airways, behind Nigerian Airways that they've been using for years, more than 40, 50 years. So why, instead of us struggling here, I'm paying so much on tickets back and forth. It's just for operational efficiency. Shehu, the minister, can I just say, I as the minister, I don't meet day to day with them. So they don't have to be here with me. I can meet with the MD once in a week, maybe once in 2 weeks or twice a week.
Minister, why do you think it's causing a political uproar?
No, it's the nature of this country now. It's the nature of certain people who don't want government to function. You know that people are already preparing for 2027. You know that. Sitting down here. People are preparing for 2027. They just rake up all kinds of things to prepare for 2027. So it's a very simple, straightforward explanation to say, the money is not my money, Shehu. This money is not my money. The money belongs to Nigerian people. So if they are not enraged to hear that $500 million was spent on tickets, back and forth, Lagos,
because
Abuja.
Because of operational reasons.
Because of operational reasons. If they are not enraged, no problem.
So are you going ahead to implement that relocation move?
We are going ahead. The directive was given, like I said, there was no movement of materials and persons. It's just a redesignation of Lagos as headquarters. Do you understand me? We're not moving files, we're not moving human beings. They are there. Anyway, they are in Lagos anyway.
All right. I said I was not going to spend more time on it because we have so much issues. And let me deal quickly with the issues. There are a lot of them in the sector, but this one affects the customers, the average Nigerian, those who are flying. On one hand, there are a series of cancellation. One may imagine that, yes, the weather, Hamatan, the haze and all what have you affects flying. But there is a way, a manner which the operators react to these and handle these. Sometimes you are even at the airport when you know that your flights have been cancelled. There's been incessant cancellation and delay of flight. What is, you as the regulator, what are you doing about it? Because this is a customer, it's supposed to be a customer-centric sector. Why are the customers, the Nigerian people, having to suffer for all of this?
Thank you, Shehu. I feel it too, you know, and it's one of those issues I told myself when I became Minister of Aviation that I was going to address. And so I feel the pains of Nigerians who go through that. I see a lot of text messages, a lot of messages on my phone, my emails and all of that. And then it's actually a difficult situation. And all my predecessors in office, you can see that they couldn't address that situation. But I'm trying to, you know, get, you know, to a reasonable bend on this issue. Because do you sanction the airlines by closing them down? You create more chaos because we don't have enough local, you know, airlines. So how do you proceed? I'm just telling you the difficulty before I tell you what we are doing. How do you proceed? Do you say, I clamp you down? There was cancellation of your flight. So tomorrow you are not flying. I'm punishing you. You create more chaos. So you have to handle it delicately to ensure that what you are trying to solve, the problem you are trying to solve, you don't escalate it more. That is service to the Nigerian people. Now, the most important thing is that the customers must have succor. That is the conclusion we came. What kind of succor can we give to them? Because all over the world, there are flight cancellations, delays, and all of that. But then, in other climes, they keep to the rules. Because there are clear rules stated by ICAO as to how you treat customers, how you refund money, how you give them comfort when you delay their flights. We have to enforce those rules to the hilt. That's what we are thinking about. Now, today, just today, I initiated something that is very innovative. And, you know, you are hearing here for the first time on this platform, that we've engaged a couple of insurance companies, and they've come to us, and they want to find a way out of this. Now, the insurance companies have undertaken to insure these passengers and, you know, their flight tickets, as it were, so that they will be present at every airport in the country. The moment there is a delay or there's a cancellation, they will, for customers who are willing to quickly catch the next flight, they will buy the tickets. The insurance company will pay for the tickets on the spot. And all the complex issues, how they will recover their monies from the airline, they are prepared. That's why they are risk takers. They're prepared to take their risk. They are working out. The details are being worked out, but we have come to a preliminary agreement. They're prepared to go with us on that. So that is one angle to it. The other one is that, which we started working on last year, is that with the airlines, is that we say, look, can you give the customers who you have disappointed some kind of rebates? Because the difficulty really is getting the cash back from the airlines at the airports.
It takes about a month.
Yeah, a month, because sometimes you buy it online. Sometimes you don't. In those days when you buy it by cash, it's no longer available. I mean, cash transactions are hardly available now. So customers come, they buy the tickets by their debit cards, some buy online and all of that. So you can't get the cash back, and that's what causes the frustration at the airports. Another flight is going to Lagos, one is in cancelled. Can I cash if I don't have enough cash to buy that ticket? So the insurance will take care of that. The other one is that we've said airlines, we're working out the details with them. The next time that customer wants to buy a ticket from you, you must give some kind of rebate, 25%, 50% rebate. That I was the one involved in this on December 13, when your flight was delayed or cancelled. So this time I'm buying, there's some kind of, you know, your name is on the system. We're working out some kind of detail whereby you can identify the customer and say, okay, now instead of 100,000, you are paying 70,000 for this ticket as compensation for what happened the last time. It's a win-win because the airline retained their customers. So out of frustration, the person will say, I won't buy this ticket again. The customer will be forced to come back to that same airline because he or she has a rebate, you know, to take. So these are the specific details we're trying to work out.
But there are those who will say that when you buy a ticket of almost 250,000 naira,
yes,
because tickets are now, prices of tickets are going through the roof.
Yes.
And perhaps how much is an average Nigerian earning anyways? You spend that amount of money. You are imagining that when a ticket is cancelled and you have an urgent, an important event or appointment to catch, you may not even have as much to be able to buy another ticket.
That's why the insurance companies come in. They will buy it immediately.
How soon would that happen?
We are working. The meeting held today, and the agreement, you know, has been reached.
So you'll be able to get another ticket almost immediately?
Immediately by the insurance.
Unfortunately,
they pay for you. They'll pay for you on the spot.
There are some routes that if you miss that flight, yes, that's the end for the day.
Well, yes, that will be unfortunate.
So, I mean, but then,
Minister,
you know, the question
the insurance
is
companies, we want to stretch them to say, can you provide the comfort?
No, hold on,
can you provide the comfort in terms of hotels, for instance, where they have to sleep? Because the problem is that some customers, they leave them to their fate. They have to go back to town to look for hotels at their own expense. So we'll stretch them to that point so that they will now claim those monies back from the airlines to give the customers those comfort of even the hotels and feeding and all to the next day.
You know why the feelers out there and why a lot of Nigerians think that they bear the brunt and they are the mercy of nothing, because they think that there's nobody fighting for them when the aviation or operators are failing, is because they think that the government or the regulators do nothing. The regulators
You are pressing that point. I just told you now we're doing something.
So the point is that
yes.
there seems to be some leniency.
But I'm just telling you now, because before me, hold on now.
Apart from the fact that you are creating these processes, what are you doing to ensure as a deterrence to these operators that if you fail them, there is a deterrence, not only making options available, but because this cancellation, a lot of Nigerians think that these airlines just do it arbitrarily.
Do not forget that it's a bit more complicated than that. And to be honest, sometimes we are complicit. Sometimes. And that is why I said, why do I say we are complicit sometimes? It's not the fault of the airlines sometimes. Weather. Sometimes birds strike. And we have the responsibility to clear those birds. It is the responsibility of FAAN to buy the equipment to clear the birds, because those airlines are paid for parking, paid for using our facilities, so we should make the atmosphere good for them. Sometimes it is lack of jet A1 fuel. Sometimes it is their fault. So what I have said is that on a weekly basis, and they started this year, give me a complete list of all the flights in the country that were delayed or cancelled and the reasons and action taken. We will start publishing them as from next week. So that one is also name and shame.
Are you also going to commit to Nigerians tonight that going forward,
yes,
not only that the government will not take with kids' gloves on the issue that concerns customers and flyers?
That is what we are doing.
Are you making? I want you to make that commitment to them tonight, because you are there to serve them, isn't it?
Action is bigger than words. I just told you about the actions we are taking. Words are just words if I say it's on TV. But I'm telling you in concrete steps we're taking. People can go back and analyze this.
But we want to extract a commitment from you, Honorable Minister.
I took a pledge to serve the Nigerian people. I took a commitment. I took an oath of office.
In this specific interest.
The oath of office.
The Nigerian people, they are suffering.
You are not the commissioner for oaths that I should take oath before. I took oath that is stronger than word. I took oath of office to preserve the constitution, to serve the Nigerian people, and to make sure my interest does not surpass my official duties. That is the oath I took in that hallowed chambers. That is above every other commitment I will take on TV. And I owe that to the Nigerian people. Shehu, I do that.
We'll hold you on to that, and yes, hoping that the lives of the Nigerian people will be better for it and when they are in this kind of situation. One thing that looks similar to it is in the area of the incident, the airspace incident that we have seen, especially in places like Ibadan, that has a short runway. There's been 2 accidents in the minimum that has happened. One involving in the last weekend. There's another one involving the Minister of Power. And these issues are worrying. And there are those who say, on one hand, it is issues of infrastructure and equipment to guide against accident. There are on the hand, the issues of human error. But this incident, what's the explanation to the Nigerian people about the Ibadan incidents?
We have reacted immediately. Now, the NSIB, which is one of our agencies, the Accident Investigation Bureau, it was the former AIB, they have swung into action to get us reports on this incident. Now, as the lead, figure in aviation in this country, I should not make prejudicial statements regarding those investigations going on. But I've told them to speed up those investigations and get a report to us. But however, listen, Shehu, I'm not waiting for those reports. We have decided to take some preemptive steps to say, look, we need to upgrade our equipment. Because the first Ibadan incident was that the aircraft landed before the runway. Could it be navigational problems? Could it be what? don't forget that the last time, we upgraded our equipment was when those series of accidents happened, I think on our Obasanjo or so. There was a whole stakeholders meeting, and so there was a lot of procurement at that time in the aviation sector in terms of navigation equipment and all of that. But after that, technology has improved a lot across the world. And I have just gone to a few places across the world, in Europe especially, and we think there is a need to upgrade our equipment to meet modern standards. And some have been done, some are being done, and we're planning to do some before I came. So for these incidents, we are specifically looking at upgrading the total radial coverage of Nigeria. There's a project called the TRACON that we are doing presently. It's the total radial coverage of Nigeria. And so we are embarking on that. I went to Thales in France for that, in France. So we are doing that. We're also procuring equipment, landing equipment, navigation equipment, upgrading the ones that we had before. There's the ILS that we're trying to procure, the modern ones for the 5 international airports and some other airports. There is also what you call the DVOR. The DVOR is the Doppler VHS omnidirectional range equipment. Now, these equipments, they guide aircrafts even in very difficult circumstances. Even in hazy weather, they are the ones who guide the landing, the approach and landing of aircrafts. Even if the pilot is blind. But these are very technical equipment that can guide you to land, in those difficult circumstances. We are in the process of procuring those equipments now for the country to upgrade our equipment, to ensure that we rule out those possibilities if these incidents happen. Like I said, I'm not coming to that conclusion, but we have immediately reacted. Now, what I did in November was I wrote to Mr. President to say, look, Mr. President, beyond the envelope system of the budget, please, can we have urgent intervention regarding this very critical equipment? I called all the stakeholders together. I called NAMA together, the officials of NAMA together, NCA, NSIB. These are the technical people. I said, what do we need? And we all looked at it. We forwarded to Mr. President. And guess what? In his characteristic style, Mr. President said, look, lives of Nigerians are more important. He immediately directed that the Ministry of Finance should look into it and see how we can quickly raise funds for this. And they are in the process of doing that right now. We're processing it.
It is in what range? About how much will this cost?
Well, we proposed about 40 billion. For all the airports in Nigeria.
All the airports in Nigeria.
All the airports.
These are just gadgets and equipment, not the infrastructure, not structure.
No, I'm coming to that. Okay. That's a big one I'm coming to.
Because I'm coming to some other technical details of what is affecting our airports. I mean, you imagine that an aircraft lands in an airport like Kano and our devices could not detect them. Is that bad? But I'd like to get some of the information about what really happened. This is in one hand, security is also in terms of economy. If aircraft are landing and we are not able to detect them because our gadgets are obsolete, there's a problem. We need to go on.
That is what the TRACON is trying to achieve. The total radial coverage of Nigeria. We're trying to achieve that with the TRACON, the upgrade of the TRACON.
Let's take a break. But when we come back, well, there's about $700 million that is being trapped. Is the federal government going to give that back? There's also the slot issues for airline reciprocity issues. The UAE and Emirates airline debacle. What is happening? The Minister of Aviation will be talking to us on dealing with aviation issues in Nigeria. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, is being our guest tonight on the program. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. We're talking about the technical issues in relation to how the safety of flyers in Nigeria can be guaranteed. And there are those who are also wondering what is happening to our airport. For example, you mentioned of how almost 40 billion naira worth of equipment and gadgets will be purchased when the funds are being resolved. There are issues of obsolete radar equipment, poor navigation system. In Kano, for example, the area control system center is very terrible. It's so bad that sometimes an aircraft will land in that airport, and this navigation system or the area control system is not being able to see it. Is that bad? And the airport also are in terrible shape. What is being done in this respect?
That is for that one. there's also the Safe Tower project going on, where we want to upgrade our towers across the country for this particular purpose. Not only that, there are also not only the Safe Tower project involves the 5 major international airports. The other ones, the 12, we have also selected another 12 airports across all the 6 geopolitical zones. And those equipments are ready in Norway. I've gone to see them in Norway, and they are ready. It's actually a matter of funds, just to complete our payment, and they will ship those equipments in. So those equipments are ready. They are normal equipment. They are ready to upgrade our towers for this type of detection and all of that. So don't worry about that. We are on it, including, of course, like I said, the total radar coverage of Nigeria TRACON. We are the upgrade of it.
Do you have a timeline for delivery?
Yes, they are almost ready. They're almost ready. We just have to also look for the funds. It's also, all of these are part of the special intervention we asked for. So the special intervention are these projects I'm talking about.
On the other hand, it's a poor infrastructure.
Okay, yes, go ahead. There's also the distant measuring equipment. They call it DME. It's also very important. The low range and the high range one. They are also a part of that important project we want to do. And did I mention the DVOR? The DVOR is the Doppler VHF Omni directional range equipment. These are very important equipment that you use at any point in time to ensure that it is zero, possibility of accident.
So hopefully before the end of this quarter, should we be seeing?
If we get it, once the funds, the president said look for the funds. That's what the president is so concerned about this.
The Ministry of Interior is talking about e-gates. Are you partnering on that too?
Oh yes, because we are their landlords at the airports. We are their landlords.
So talk to us about the poor state of infrastructure.
Now listen to what we want to do about that. The moment I came into office, the first thing I asked all of them, the technocrats and the bureaucrats, I said, where are the master plans for our airports? Especially the 5 international airports. How can you build infrastructure? Because you talked about infrastructure. Is there any way you build infrastructure in the world without a plan? Whether a house, whether anything that's even road, you must have a plan, an approved plan. So I did not meet any master plan on the ground in the entire Nigeria, all the 5 international airports. So the first thing I said, what have you guys been doing about this? So it has all been stop, start, all kinds of disjointed major development we have been doing. Now, like if somebody comes and says, I want to build a hangar or a 5-star hotel or something, you know what they do? Before I came to office, they'll look at the whole of Lagos or Mekia, Kano. Okay, there's a bush at that corner. Go and do it there. Where's your master plan covering the whole of the Aerotropolis? So I told Mr. President that we need to start with master plans for our 5 international. We are going to do for all of them, but let us start with the 5 international airports. Thankfully, the National Assembly listened to me because I made a presentation about the master plans to them, and they have provided the funds in this 2024 budget. So if you look at 2024 budget, you will see master plan there. That was what we did. Now we are going around the world. We are talking to the world-class international design consultants. If I buy a land, Shehu, and I don't have money to build a house, maybe I will go and do a design first and get an approved plan. I don't have money to build a house, but I'll do an approved plan. When I get the approved plan, I'll now begin to look for money to build a house. That's what we want to do. Now, why can't we be ambitious as smaller countries, even in Europe, in every part of the world? They have beautiful airports, world-class airports. They have hubs, proper hubs. So we don't have a single airport in Nigeria that's a hub. All we have are runway, terminal building. Runway, terminal building. That's the old concept of an airport. When you just land, you process to a terminal building. They cannot process you to another gate, to another place, to another wing of the airport.
Is there any of the international airport that you are planning in the immediate
all of them
to turn into a hub?
All of them
at the same time.
The 5: Mekia, Kano, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Abuja. We need to turn them, and we are looking for concessionaires all over the world to do these proper hubs for us. Now, the hubs, the modern airports, it's a total ecosystem. You have the hub, which is, wing A, wing B, wing C, going to different parts of the world. You have parts for 5-star hotels. You have a part for a convention center. You have a part for a shopping complex. You have a part for, then you have where you can plan in 30 years' time for a rail to come in. Because these days, air transport must converge with rail and road transport.
Similar to what we have in Abuja.
Everywhere. They must converge for you to be able to process passengers to their ultimate comfort.
So you are redesigning in some case because there isn't any master plan anyways.
No, the whole of the Aerotropolis, take note, not the terminal building. Like for example, we have 25,000 hectares, say in Lagos now. Tell me in the next 30 years, which in this whole 25,000 hectares, or whatever they call it, tell me where each building will be. Tell me which road, where the roads will be. Tell me where the rail will come in. Tell me where the shopping complex will be. Now, listen to the advantage of that. I will now carry this design now to be selling to our concessionaires. We are selling our vision to the world, not people coming to sell their vision to us. That's the disaster we have in Lagos, where they went to build a new Chinese terminal, that terminal there. Guess what? Planes cannot come into anchor. Why? Because 2 hangars are blocking planes for. So who approved that plan? Who? Because that's a lack of a master plan. Look at Abuja today that has a master plan. Because the more people are pouring into Abuja every day, you can say Abuja is seamlessly expanding because there's a master plan. You see new bridges coming up. Those bridges have been in the design since 40 years ago when Abuja was established. So when they know that Abuja is being, is choking, you see a new district will open, a new bridge will open, and they're just seamlessly sucking in everybody Abuja. That is why Abuja is as beautiful as it is today, because of a master plan. We don't have master plan. So I have gone to the basics to start from a master plan. And people are talking to us already.
How soon will the master plan be ready?
I'm inaugurating a committee next week, a first technical committee within the ministry.
What's the timeline you're giving them to deliver?
Let me tell you the step. When we inaugurate a technical committee, we will now get our local consultants for each of the 5 airports, because you have to get the local people, they are technocrats together, who will direct and work with the international consultants. We are going for the best in the world. We will look for the best. Who designed the best airports in the world? We can be ambitious as that. We can be as ambitious as that.
How do you then resolve the several concession agreement bedeviling the growth of aviation? Because we have several of those concession problems hanging over the aviation sector in Nigeria.
No court matter, no unworkable agreement will hold me down as minister. If you want to go to court, I'll meet you in court. I'm not running away from court. I'm a senior advocate in Nigeria. We'll meet in court. But nobody will say we take judicial, unworkable agreements, that's what I mean, unworkable agreements and all that, to hold us down, to hold a nation down, to hold the progress of a nation down. We know one instance in the park when somebody said, I was the one that was given one road to build. For 10 years, you could not build a road. A major highway in this country, you could not build it. And he didn't want the government to build it. He didn't want any other person to come in. But he said, I was the one that have an agreement to build the road. What's the meaning of that? And people are dying on that road. People are dying on that road. Now people have dragged themselves to court over 1 or 2 of their airports before I came in. Some kind of, they alleged shoddy process about the process and all that. So I will now wait, or the nation should wait, that those airports will remain like that while you battle it to come for the next 15 years.
You won't take that.
Who will take that? Is it me? The nation will not take that.
In the meantime, what do you do to the state of some of the airports? Some of them, some of the international airports are.
We are
sometimes there is no AC. Sometimes you even imagine how difficult it is to get all the telcos together and provide a free Wi-Fi in the terminals. You look at the local airport. Some of them, they look like a hut. They look like some very shrine where the airline, and you wonder what it.
We cannot close them. We cannot close them. I made them like that. So those are short-term plans we have. You know what I did in Lagos? Remember when I came? First 1-2 weeks. Look, move to the new Chinese. Let's manage this Chinese place that they built. Manage it like this for now, while we do some remedial work in the old place. Because when you are designing a new place, what you do first of all, if you look at all architects, they'll say existing structures. So they take into consideration existing structures. So those are the existing structures that we must manage for now. Now, what did I do? The movement to the Chinese place has helped us. Wing D, you saw the other day, we have refurbished something, the arrival hall in Wing D. They were ourselves and immigration, we cooperated, and Wing E has also been done now. So D and E have been partially opened again, but that was as a result of my directive, because it was when we left that we could get people to come in. Shell came in to D and helped us to do the arrival hall, and we also got people to help us to do Wing D. So Now we can manage E and D. So that's how we are going to manage until
Minister, quickly,
we get our master plans afoot and get people, the concessionaires to come.
Can we get Wi-Fi into the international terminals?
You know what's happened before I came? I just gave a directive now. 2 agencies were fighting who has responsibility for Wi-Fi. This is the kind of problem. Immediately, I've told them, look, one agency, it is your responsibility. Go and take charge of it. And guess what? We're also talking to a Canadian, group. We are going to have Wi-Fi's in our local flight, inside our local flights now. I told them, make it happen. I called DGNC, I said, why don't we have, all over the world, switch off your phone, we switch off your phone. That's it, we are far behind. All over the world, you use Wi-Fi now when you are flying. In the whole of America and Europe, you plug onto Wi-Fi, you converse, you do your WhatsApp till you land. So why can't we do that here?
Minister.
So we are talking to them, we say, make it happen.
Nigeria Air.
Yes.
How do you untangle that controversy? Where are we at on that? Well, the issue of national flag carrier.
Well, first of all, let me just say that I have said this before, and I'll say it again. It was not a deal that was good for Nigeria in the long run. The whole composition and the totality of that deal was merely Ethiopian Air flying Nigerian flag. It was not a national carrier. There are two things. A flag carrier is different from a national carrier. So when we were being told that a national carrier was coming, it was not a national carrier. It was a foreign airline trying to fly Nigerian flag. That was not.
So we were
and
deceived.
I tell you,
Nigerians were deceived.
You are using that word. I'm just
because if they told us this, and that's the
maybe they didn't know the implication.
And because an airplane was painted,
people were patriots,
and we returned paying Nigerian money. Is any investigation being done to that?
Yes,
You're a lawyer.
Yes. That's why I said maybe you pushed me to say it. EFCC investigating that deal. There's an ongoing EFCC investigation. So people who don't know should know.
So for now, we will hang national flag carrier on one hand until that is resolved.
No. But the point is that I will not prejudice an EFCC investigation, a sister agency. I mean, an agency of government, to undermine them. But there is a criminal investigation going on. That is the honest truth. I don't know those who are involved or those who are not involved, but I've called for a report. As the minister said, they should give me a preliminary report. But
would you push for a national flag carrier?
I will push for one, and I'm working on one. And guess what? Let me say this publicly now. No local airline will fly will be a carrier, national carrier, a flag carrier. So whoever thinks I'm working to promote one to be a national flag carrier, I'm saying it as a matter of policy. It will be unfair to all the local operators. No local airline will be designated as a flag carrier. I will not do it. We will establish a proper national carrier. And people are talking to us. The Arabs are talking to us. The Chinese are talking to us. The Americans are talking to us on this already. There were better deals on the table. Why did we settle for this? Or why we're trying to settle for this? We have better deals on the table. If you give me 1 hour, I'll go into the intricacies of the proposed agreement.
Unfortunately, we don't have that time. Let me go into some other areas. Just a few days ago, there were reports that the CBN had cleared the backlog of foreign airlines trapped funds. And there are about $700 million that we understand. What is your ministry doing to get the CBN to the trapped funds of our local airlines too? Well, the local airlines are the ones moving the economy. Everything about the aircraft and its maintenance is in foreign currency. Some of these airlines have gone to borrow money, which is the trap money from the bank at nothing less than 26% interest rate. And the feelers are that the federal government is catering to the needs of foreign airlines against the interests of local airlines. Is that fair?
No. Let me explain. You have to give me 2 minutes to explain this. The CBN had cleared their backlog, but there are some still with the commercial bank. But as for federal government now, which comes up to about $160 million, we have cleared the CBN. Those were the ones that were trapped in the CBN because those were promises given by the CBN in their bidding, weekly bidding that they could not meet. The other ones, the airlines should go to the commercial banks, which is a balance of about $600 million. Those are trapped in commercial banks. So that does not concern government again. See, government has showed its own commitment to clear that. However, it was important we address that one first. One, because of the confidence of the foreign investors and people coming into Nigeria that we could meet our obligations. It's very important. And they were threatening to stop flights. Meanwhile, we don't have enough local flights to service those international routes. So we could have had a situation where Nigerians are trapped within Nigeria. They will have to go to other countries to catch international flights. So we needed to settle that first. However, in terms of the local people, what they need the money for, what they need access to the foreign currency for, is to service their international obligations, to repair, which is basically to repair, to have C checks on their aircrafts, maintenance, and repairs that they go abroad to do, and they don't have dollars. In fact, they have to go at times to all kinds of places to look for money, to look for foreign currency to service obligation. What am I doing about it? I'm talking to the aviation working group already, and that is the key that will unlock the aviation industry in Nigeria. This thing has been on for 10 years. Nobody listened to it, even other people that came before me. But that is the core of the problem in Nigeria. How do they have access to aircraft, and how do we have access to C checks within Nigeria? So that we don't have to, those local airlines will not be under pressure to look for dollars to go and do C checks abroad. We need to establish our MROs here in Nigeria, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities. There's none in the whole of West Africa. There's none in the whole of Central Africa, as I speak with you. The one in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, is for their airline. Egypt has one small one for all their airline. South Africa has one small for their oil, but none again in the whole of Africa. So why don't we have a big country like us? Why don't we have an MRO? That's what I went to Uyo to do the other day. Beautiful thing that they have done there in Uyo. An MRO is 90% complete in Uyo. So I went there to encourage them, to push them. They are about to establish an MRO in Nigeria.
All right.
The aviation working group, they are willing to also give us aircraft on wet lease. On dry lease, not wet lease, on dry lease. And so that we can have access, local operators can have access to aircraft in Nigeria at very good terms, instead of the 26% that our banks offer here. There's no airline in the world, Chewu, that operates its fleet based on full purchase. Even not the Great Emirates, Great Qatar, no. Most of their fleets are on dry lease. Why can't we get it here? Let me tell you what is the problem. They complained, the aviation working group, that our judicial system stifled them. They tried with one airline in the past. You know what happens? They bring the aircraft in, and they are trapped here by all kinds of judicial things. They can't get their assets out of Nigeria again. Based on the Cape Town Convention, what they call the Cape Town Convention, that says that those people, when they bring in aircrafts like that, they should secure those assets for them. That is the basic thing about the Cape Town Convention. So what they asked me to do as minister, they said the first time a senior advocate is here, work on the judicial problem for us. Once you remove those judicial bottlenecks, I've spoken to the Attorney General, those aircrafts will come in. So that is what we are working on now. Boeing is there, Airbus. They are the co-chair of the aviation working group. Boeing and Airbus. And I'm talking to them.
I have less than 2 minutes to go. And I have some very critical question. I don't know how we need to manage this time so that we can deal with it. I saw the other day that Airpeace was praising you. You were in the UK trying to push for this issue.
In order to challenge BA, to challenge British Airways.
Because they're not getting a fair share over there.
That is the problem.
Local airlines are being stifled. They're not getting the right slot. The issue of reciprocity is not being explained. Now, the question here, the bilateral air service agreement, the BASA, signed by Nigeria with several countries, seem to be skewed in favor of those countries to the detriment of our nation. The minister after minister over the years announced that the BASA signed by Nigeria will be revisited and reviewed. What have you done to this?
I am doing that. That is why when people said, what is first us doing aviation? I laughed at them. 90% of the work here is the agreements. It's the interpretation of agreements and enforcing of agreements. 90% of the work in aviation.
Because this is hurting our local
That is what we are doing now. That's why I was in London last week on this issue. Why? Because one of my KPIs is to support the growth and development of our local, operators. It's not the support of one person or the other. No, I have no business supporting one over the other. I support all equally, but we must make sure they survive. The greatest mortality rate has been in the aviation industry in the last 40 years in Nigeria. More than 100 airlines died. You know that? More than. From Concorde to Zenith to all those airlines in the past.
So let's anchor on this note. Today, the dollar is exchanging at about 1,500 at the parallel market. Airfares are not raised to match this daily devaluation of the naira against the dollar. Are you not afraid that this situation might affect the capacity of the airlines to earn enough foreign exchange for proper maintenance of their aircraft?
This is why we said get in the MROs as quickly as possible. This is the problem. Get them in quickly so that we will not dollarize the industry. The moment we keep dollarizing the aviation industry, we are in trouble with airfares, We're in trouble with all kinds, with maintenance and everything. We need to get in those MROs. And we're talking to everybody in the world to get in the MROs for us.
Is there any hope that the fares can come down?
Well, until those other surrounding issues are addressed. Jet A1 fuel is dollar. It's dollar. It's priced in dollar. Their maintenance. And guess what? When their planes go out, they go and line up for 4 months or 2 months to get repairs and see checks. What do they do to their existing obligations here? Because they have sold tickets in advance. Now they don't have the aircraft to come and service them. You know what they do? They now go and get wet lease outside in order to service those obligations. That is why you see some aircraft going to Abuja, going to land in Asaba. Because it's wet lease. There are crews and all that don't know our terrain here.
We need to go now. We're totally out of time. There's a whole lot more to talk about because of the sharp practices that some foreign airlines are having in Nigeria, taking advantage of what is going on in Nigeria. But we don't have as much time. We hope some other time you might be able to speak to us on this. But thank you so much indeed. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you. God bless.
That's our show for today, everyone. Men, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.